Hello there, Jedi Master Shaggy here with a very special video to celebrate 50,000 subscribers. Going to evaluate several lightsabers on a scale of 1 to 5 to see just how good or not good they are. Lightsabers evaluated include a standard lightsaber or lightsaber katana, Jarkai or dual wield, lightsaber staff or double-bladed lightsaber, and several other more interesting lightsabers that you may never have seen before. With that in mind, let's get started. Before we get started, I want to note that all of the ratings are based on the lightsaber's effectiveness against another lightsaber user in one-on-one combat. Ratings are on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being terrible, the worst possible rating you can get, 2 being below average, 3 being good or average, 4 being very good or above average, and 5 being exceptional, just about as good as it can get. Now, let's really get started. Hello there, Jedi Master Shaggy here to go over the pros and cons of the standard lightsaber or lightsaber katana. We'll be ranking several categories on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. To start off with range, we're going to give this lightsaber 3 out of 5 being the standard or default. Typical blade length, what you'd expect of a lightsaber, you have pretty solid range with it. You can really reach out, and even with swings, you have pretty solid range. In terms of strength, we give it 4 out of 5 stars. Why so high? Because the ability to hold with 2 hands, you can perform some very strong, powerful swings with 2 hands. In terms of speed, we're going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. For a standard rating, you could do some spins that operate very quickly, and you could have strikes, follow-up strikes also very quickly. Not the absolute fastest lightsaber out there, but still pretty respectable. In terms of defensive ability, I also rank it 3 out of 5 stars, being the standard default you expect from a lightsaber. You have a wide variety of ways to block attacks and counter with your own strikes as well. In terms of ease of use, we're going to give it maximum 5 stars. Very easy to use, the easiest lightsaber there is to use. Comes very naturally, just swing a sword or poke at things with it. Now for the overall ranking for the lightsaber katana or standard lightsaber, the average score comes out to 3.6 out of 5 stars, a little over 7 out of 10 stars. So a very good rating. This is the jack of all trades of the lightsaber world, has no major weaknesses, but isn't quite the best in any one category. Can't go wrong with the standard lightsaber. This is the lightsaber staff or double-bladed lightsaber, and today we're going to evaluate its effectiveness on a scale of 1 to 5 in several categories to see just how effective of a lightsaber it is. The first category we're going to evaluate is range, where it scores an average 3 out of 5 stars. While this lightsaber overall is longer than a typical lightsaber, it still only has roughly the same range as a normal lightsaber would, just with an extra blade on the back end. In terms of strength, the lightsaber staff gets an impressive 4 out of 5 stars. This longer hilt allows some very powerful 2-handed strikes to be delivered. You just have to be careful about the trailing blade to make sure you don't hit your body when you're delivering those powerful strikes. In terms of speed, the lightsaber staff gets a very impressive 4 out of 5 stars for its ability to deliver strikes and subsequent strikes very quickly, as well as to be pretty much a blur when spinning both blades as quickly as possible. In terms of defensive potential, the lightsaber staff earns an impressive 4 out of 5 stars. This long length, as long as the hilt is made of lightsaber-resistant material, provides the ability to block high and low at the same time, as well as to deliver fast subsequent strikes following a block, providing offensive opportunities out of defensive situations. In terms of the skill required to use a lightsaber staff, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It is a little bit more difficult to use and get a hang of than a standard lightsaber, both because of the increased length and also managing that back blade to make sure you don't hit yourself with it. Once you realize that when you swing, focus on the front blade, you should have some awareness of the back blade is, and a lot of hitting yourself can be alleviated with swinging with more sweeping motions that won't hit your body. In terms of overall score, the lightsaber staff gets an impressive 3.6 out of 5 stars, or a little above 7 out of 10. This lightsaber can be very unpredictable for people who have no experience defending against it, and can provide very potent offensive and defensive capabilities at the same time. Just requires a little bit of training to master. Today we're going to evaluate just how effective Jarkai, or dual wielding lightsabers, is on a scale of 1 to 5 in several categories. In terms of range, Jarkai gets 3 out of 5 stars, or the standard rating. While I have 2 lightsabers, the longer of the 2 is still only the same length as a normal lightsaber, meaning I have the same maximum reach as I would with a normal lightsaber. In terms of strength, Jarkai gets 3 out of 5 stars. While I have 2 lightsabers, I can only swing each of them with one hand. Now, I can kind of swing both of them at once to mimic the power of a two-handed swing, but I'm still limited in maximal power compared to swinging a normal lightsaber with 2 hands, in my opinion. In terms of speed, I give Jarkai 4 out of 5 stars. Having 2 lightsabers provides much easier ability to provide multiple swings and strikes and attack from a variety of angles than one lightsaber does. You can come from one side with one, another with another. Very hard to predict, very hard to anticipate. In terms of defensive potential, I give Jarkai the maximum 5 stars out of 5 stars. The ability to block attacks with both hands, both sides of your body, high and low, is very useful. And you can come with a block, with a follow-up strike with the other lightsaber very quickly. In terms of skill required to effectively use Jarkai, I give it a skill rating 3 out of 5 stars. It is considerably more difficult to effectively use 2 lightsabers than it is 1, but you could kind of mitigate that by having a primary lightsaber that you would use for attacking, and use the older one mostly to block other attacks, or just provide some follow-up blows. But to truly master using Jarkai requires a lot of practice. In terms of overall score for Jarkai, or lightsaber dual wielding, I give it an overall average score of 3.6 out of 5 stars, or a little above 7 out of 10 stars. This is a very versatile way to wield lightsabers that excels in almost all areas with no major weaknesses, just requires a good bit of training to master. This is a lightsaber Pike, or Naginata, and today we're going to rank it on a scale of 1 to 5 in several categories to show just how good of a lightsaber it is. In terms of range, this lightsaber polearm scores the maximum 5 stars. Being incredibly long, you have a ton of range with this thing, whether it's to poke with it or swing with it. Its range is unmatched. In terms of strength, it also gets the maximum 5 stars. This added length and weight allows you to deliver very strong strikes, and you can generate a ton of leverage with just how long and heavy this lightsaber is. In terms of speed, it takes a significant hit relative to a normal lightsaber, coming in at only 2 out of 5 stars. This long length can hinder mobility, particularly in confined areas such as this indoor room here, where I have to be very careful about not hitting things when I swing. You could choke up on it a little bit to get some faster abilities to strike with it, and you can also use the back end to provide faster follow-up strikes. This, of course, assuming that the whole shaft is made out of Beskar or some other lightsaber-resistant material. In terms of defense, the lightsaber Pike also gets the maximum 5 stars, again assuming that the shaft is made out of a lightsaber-resistant material. Having this much area to block with really provides you with a ton of versatility. You can block high and low at the same time to really protect yourself from incoming strikes. And you also have the ability to follow up a block with quick subsequent attacks, especially for something of this length. In terms of skill, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Seems very high for something so big that seems more difficult to use, but historically, polearms have been very effective for minimally trained people to use. Even if you can't do a lot of the fancier spins and tricks with it, you can always just kind of hold it like a spear, poke with it. Very easy to do, and this really long range can still help keep opponents at bay. Overall, it's going to get a score of 4.2 out of 5 stars, or around 8.5 out of 10, which is an absolutely phenomenal score for such a versatile, unique lightsaber that I would love to see get some more love in Star Wars films. This is the Lightsaber Zweihänder, and today we're going to rank it on a scale of 1 to 5 in several categories to see just how good of a lightsaber it is. In terms of range, this lightsaber gets 4 out of 5 stars. The added blade length and hilt length relative to a normal lightsaber provides a reach advantage over a typical lightsaber, allowing you to keep enemies at bay. In terms of strength, this lightsaber gets a maximum 5 stars. The added blade length and the added hilt length gives you the ability to deliver some very powerful two-handed blows with a lot of leverage and force behind them. In terms of speed, the Lightsaber Zweihänder gets 2 out of 5 stars, taking a hit from the standard lightsaber. The longer hilt and the longer blade can limit your mobility a little bit and also slow down the speed of your strikes. It takes a little more effort to get something so long around, and you have to use generally larger sweeping motions. Still very doable, just takes a little bit of practice. In terms of defensive potential, the Lightsaber Zweihänder earns a score of 4 out of 5 stars. The longer blade and hilt can help keep your opponents at bay, and you can also block from further out. With the half swording, by holding the lightsaber above the crossguard at the ricasso, you also have some improved maneuverability in closer range for something so long as this lightsaber typically is. In terms of the skill required to use this lightsaber, gets 3 out of 5 stars. It's a little more difficult to use than a typical lightsaber due to this increased length. You have to make sure that you don't hit the ground when you do various spins, and it also takes a little bit of work to get the more sweeping motions down so you're not hitting yourself with the hilt, and it takes a little bit more practice to be able to do the kind of half swording type moves that involve holding the saber above the crossguard. In terms of overall score, the Lightsaber Zweihänder comes in at 3.6 out of 5 stars, or a little above 7 out of 10. This is a very effective lightsaber with a lot of range and a lot of power. Just takes a little bit of skill to get down. This is the Lightsaber Tonfa, popularized by Maris Brood in the Force Unleashed video games. Just how effective is this lightsaber? Today we're going to score it on a scale of 1 to 5 in several categories. Starting off with range, the Lightsaber Tonfa scores an average 3 out of 5 stars. While the blade is a little bit shorter than a typical lightsaber, the hilt is a little bit longer, and when you're holding it further towards the back on the handle portion, you have about the same range that you would expect with a standard lightsaber. In terms of strength, the Lightsaber Tonfa scores a slightly below average 2 out of 5 stars. Why is this? You can generate some very powerful swings, especially using the momentum of the handle, but you don't have optimal follow-through with that handle because you can be pushed back from your grip strength when you make contact here. You do have considerable amount of power when you're using it in this ability, kind of grabbing with your elbows like you would with an elbow strike, but you're sacrificing some range to do that. You can use it like a normal lightsaber to get some powerful standard two-hand swings, but again, you're sacrificing a lot of range to do that because now it's just a short lightsaber. In terms of speed, the Lightsaber Tonfa gets a respectable 3 out of 5 stars. The handle allows for some very quick and unpredictable swings, follow-throughs, and combinations, but it is not significantly faster than a standard lightsaber. In terms of defensive potential, I give the Lightsaber Tonfa 2 out of 5 stars. It is a little bit more difficult to use this than a normal lightsaber. You can kind of block how you would a normal lightsaber holding by the handle, but again, you are in a little disadvantageous of a position holding it here as a strike to kind of weaken at your grip, causing the lightsaber to come off balance as opposed to how you would hold a typical lightsaber, in my opinion. You can also, of course, block, assuming the hilt is lightsaber resistant. You can block with it and deliver some fast and unpredictable follow-through strikes with it, using the rotation that this allows, but I still give it below average by a little bit, just because of the difficult nature of mastering it. Which brings us to ease of use, which I give 2 out of 5 stars. It takes a little bit of effort to get a hang of, and there is some risk to the user, such as on some of these follow-through strikes, you can end up hitting yourself if you're not careful. Of course, the hilt is long enough that you're not going to be hitting your own elbow with it. You see? But you can still kind of miss it and hit yourself, or hit yourself on a follow-through. So it is a little bit more difficult to master than a typical lightsaber. Overall, the Lightsaber Tonfa gets an average score of 2.4 out of 5 stars, or around 5 out of 10. It's a pretty low score, but the unorthodox nature of this lightsaber can still give you an advantage against opponents who are not used to the very unusual attack patterns and characteristics of the Lightsaber Tonfa. So just how useful are Lightsaber Nunchucks? Today, we're going to evaluate their usefulness in several categories on a scale of 1 to 5. Starting off with range, the Lightsaber Nunchucks score a very low 1 out of 5 stars. Limited range compared to a normal lightsaber because of the very short blade length. You can see the blade length here, very short compared to a standard lightsaber. Even with the added chain length and secondary hilt that you're swinging, you still have much less range than you would with a typical lightsaber. In terms of strength, the Lightsaber Nunchucks score also a low 2 out of 5 stars. While you have the ability to get some pretty powerful swings, a lot of momentum behind the strikes with very little effort required, you can still only swing with one hand, limiting the overall strength you could deliver. And the chain, upon contact, doesn't really have optimal follow-through, so you are losing some of that power on a follow-through strike. If you hit something with it, it can kind of deflect back as opposed to following through like you would think a baseball bat or something to that effect would. In terms of speed, this is where the Lightsaber Nunchucks truly shine. With the ability to get some very fast swings going, some really unpredictable angles of attack, and follow-up attacks, Lightsaber Nunchucks score a maximum 5 out of 5 stars, which is the true area where they shine. In terms of defensive potential, Lightsaber Nunchucks score a very low 1 out of 5 stars. They really have no defensive potential. You can kind of use them like daggers, set a block, limited ability, or assuming the hilts and chains are made of lightsaber resistant material, you can try to kind of catch opponents' blades with the chains, maybe even try to wrap them up to catch the blade between the Beskar chains, but you still have limited range at which to defend compared to a normal lightsaber. In terms of skill required to use Lightsaber Nunchucks, these things score the lowest possible score, 1 out of 5 stars. Normal nunchucks are hard enough to use, but when you have lightsaber blades on the end, you have to be pretty skilled with them to be more of a threat to your opponent than to yourself. There's a lot of ways this could go wrong. You could kind of just grab too low on the blade, boom, finger's gone. You can swing, not have a good awareness of where the blade is, hit yourself on the leg is gone. Very difficult to master, to make sure that you are only touching the hilt portions of the lightsaber, make the Lightsaber Nunchucks very challenging lightsaber variant to master. In terms of overall score, the Lightsaber Nunchucks are an average of 2 out of 5 stars. It's not very good, but not the most practical lightsaber, but definitely one of the most fun to use and one of the coolest in my opinion. Is the Lightsaber Whip or Lightwhip an effective lightsaber? Today we'll find out by evaluating it on a scale of 1 to 5 in 5 categories. The first category is range. The Lightsaber Whip has about the same range as a standard lightsaber, given that the length of the whip is about the same length as that of a standard lightsaber blade. In terms of power, the Lightwhip gets a score of 1 out of 5. Minimal score. This is because the Lightwhip, while you can swing it with 1 or 2 hands to generate a lot of power, when it makes contact with something, it doesn't have the ability to really follow through. It kind of just wraps around it. So you can't really break any guards with this, although you could potentially get around them and still strike the opponent. But you also have to be careful not to strike yourself and follow through strikes. So getting powerful strikes is very difficult. In terms of speed, the Lightwhip gets 2 out of 5 stars. Well, you can swing it really fast, get some very fast swings going. You are very limited in what you can do without actually hitting yourself either on the follow through or after the swing is over. In terms of defensive potential, the Lightwhip gets a minimum 1 out of 5 stars. You can't really block with this thing because it's floppy. Can't really block with it, and if you did try, you're liable to hit yourself with it on the backswing. In terms of ease of use, I give the Lightwhip 2 out of 5 stars. It's not that difficult just to swing around, but it's very difficult to not hit yourself with on the follow through of almost all of those swings. In terms of overall score, the Lightwhip averages 1.8 out of 5 stars, or around 3.5 out of 10 stars. A very low score, but the very unpredictable nature of this lightsaber can give you the advantage against opponents who have no experience defending against it with its ability to get around guards and blocks in a pretty unpredictable nature. Now that we've evaluated the effectiveness of 8 lightsaber variants, it turns out the biggest winner is the Lightsaber Pike, or Light Naginata, and the biggest loser is, unfortunately, Lightsaber Nunchucks, or Light Chucks. As you can see, one of the big reasons explaining this is just the range, the reach. If you look at the two of these, you can see that the blade of the Lightsaber Pike is almost the same length as the entire length of the Lightsaber Nunchucks put together. And actually, when you discount the second blade, which you can't hold, the Lightsaber Pike's blade is actually longer than the entire length of the Lightsaber Nunchucks. And that's not even factoring in the length of the hilt, which is even longer than the blade and the nunchucks. With that in mind, I think it is worth noting again that these ratings are all based on one-on-one lightsaber versus lightsaber dueling. So while the Lightsaber Nunchucks are pretty limited in their effectiveness dueling against other lightsabers, they can still have other potential uses. Thank you all once again so much for helping me get to 50,000 subscribers. This has been an amazing journey with an amazing lightsaber community, and I have a lot more content planned. Planning on doing more ranking and review videos, and have something special planned every 10,000 subscribers. I'm not quite sure when it's going to be at 60,000 yet. Maybe it'll be even wilder lightsaber designs and evaluating those. Maybe we'll be reviewing my favorite lightsaber sound fonts, my favorite lightsaber accessories, maybe some ones that I've made myself, or any ideas that you have. Leave a comment, let me know, and we might just turn your idea into a video. Thank you all once again so much, and may the Zoinks be with you.